Welcome to Tell Story Hives on location here in Medicine Hat. I'm Michael Bartz. This is my co-host.
I'm Daniel J. Perryman, and today we have...
Shelley, I'm so excited to meet with you and learn about your artistic practice. Just maybe at the top, before we get into our icebreaker games, maybe just tell us a bit about the sort of art you do.
I would say I do not one specific subject matter. I do quite a bit of different subject matter. It's anything that piques my interest. Sometimes I paint things that represent social problems in society. I guess I'm trying to send a message or get people to be more aware of them. Mm-hmm. But I also just paint things that are pretty. Like when I'm out on my bike, I see, scenery and want to share that with people. So I'm pretty much all over the place. I work in oil, acrylic, and watercolor.
Great. Awesome. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to learning all about that artistic practice and seeing your pieces. We can kind of see some here. But this first segment we kind of called the icebreaker to know you kind of games.
Yeah.
We've got some trivia. Fun segment. So we're going to start with some Medicine Hat specific trivia because that's where
I'll see if I can pass.
Yeah. And no worries, because you're going to ask some trivia about us of Canada. So Medicine between which two cities in Canada?
Okay.
Would it be Lethbridge and Moose Jaw? Be Vancouver and Winnipeg? Edmonton or Bozeman, Montana, north-south? Or Alaska and South Carolina? Oh, in the States, I forgot about that one. Guess.
Maybe C.
C, Edmonton, Bozeman, yeah. Not quite. It's Vancouver and Winnipeg. So
it's
that's
Vancouver.
Halfway. That's you're halfway if you get to Medicine Hat. Nice.
Good place to stop.
Good place to stop. Absolutely. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. All right. So now, ask you.
Awesome. My piece of trivia for you, Shelley, is in 1883, what reached the area that would become the town site first to be developed? Was it A, the Northwest Mounted Police, B, the Canadian Pacific Railway, C, a battle between the Blackfoot and Cree First Nations, or D, a traveling hat business?
I think the railway might be that because it tied a lot of historic cities together.
B, got it. That's absolutely right.
And I think I actually wrote about that because I did paint the rail station here in Medicine Hat.
There we go. You already had some knowledge about that.
Yeah.
Nice.
I usually, when I paint, I look up stuff to find out what I'm painting.
Of course.
Yeah.
Lovely. Yeah. All right. That was Medicine Hat trivia done. We did great. So the next one is we got some trivia about Daniel and myself that we don't know. So now we're going to ask.
Okay. So this is Michael's trivia. I spent 33 years working as a scientific illustrator for the Canadian Armed Forces. Before going to art school, Michael thought maybe he'd want to pursue a career in the military. He joined the 20th Field Battery and did his basic training at which base? CFB Winnipeg, or
I mean, I knew some of that, but I don't know. I might be here.
Basic training.
Basic training.
Think where that is.
One more time.
Cold Lake, Wainwright, Winnipeg, or Borden?
I'm going to go with A, Colwright.
Cold Lake?
Cold Lake?
No, it's Wainwright.
Oh, shoot.
Not unless he was a pilot, maybe.
But,
okay. That'd be fun. Yeah. You'd like that?
Yeah.
Threw him off.
Yeah.
It was a tough one. All right. So great. Good stuff. All right. So now Daniel is prepared.
The latest painting Daniel purchased is of what animal? A, a bear, B, a raccoon, C, a flamingo, or A, a platypus?
Yes. The painting that he bought recently. I was there on that trip. It was actually an on-location trip with one of our former artists, and it was a flamingo.
Yeah, you're right.
Nice.
And bonus points if you can remember which artist painted it.
Of course I remember which artist painted it. What a silly question. It was, I know who it is.
You can
but
see their face.
I can see their face and their dogs.
Starts with a C.
Oh, okay.
That's a hint.
C. Oh, what's the last name start with?
S.
Carol?
No.
I'm sorry.
No, Cindy.
I'm drunk. Cindy.
Cindy
Yeah.
Shropshire.
Yeah, yeah.
Shropshire.
Cindy, if you're watching this, I'm sorry.
I actually
Real
don't know
blank.
her work.
Do you know how
I'll
many
have to
people we
look it up
featured,
now.
Cindy?
Absolutely.
Do you know how many people?
Yeah.
Right on.
Great. I got it.
That's interesting because when I worked at Suffield, my nickname was Flamingo. My
Okay.
my computer was called Flamingo.
What was it? Pink or just?
Yeah, because I like pink.
Nice. Nice.
So the
Nice.
internet people, that's what they called me.
Nice. Cool. All right, let's go with the trivia. That went pretty well, actually. Yeah, and our next little icebreaker game is called. So we have our lovely hat because we're in Medicine Hat.
Okay.
And yeah, do you like cats or dogs? Yeah, just to get to know you.
Okay.
Go around, but I'll direct that. So how about I get you? Actually, I'll pick the first one
Okay.
for you to answer, and then of course I'll
Okay.
answer as well. Let's see what it says. Paper or audio book? Which do you prefer?
Paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I just like the smell of a book, the feel of a book, and I like to be able to go back and, I can kind of picture where I read a certain thing that might have piqued my interest. When an audio book, it's far away. Did I shut this?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah.
So yeah, I always prefer paper book.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel the same way for basically all those reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's much
Yeah.
more tactile and
Yeah.
yeah, I find sure when you're driving, audiobook is nice, but I find I don't like remember as much when
Yeah.
I'm just listening
Yeah.
to it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely an audio. Maybe I'll throw it over to Daniel to get his opinion whether he likes paper books or.
I would say paper books, but I feel like I really need to try audiobooks. I feel like I would benefit greatly. I think my brain would just, I don't know. I need to try more of them.
Yeah.
So that's where I land on that.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, good stuff. All right. You.
Stick or an automatic?
Yes. Yeah. So definitely a stick. My first car was, and it was a manual, and I learned to drive that, and
Yeah.
that's all I want to drive. It's so
Yeah.
much better.
Yeah.
There's so much more control, and which is a Honda, is also a manual, and one time it wouldn't start. So we push started it.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about
Yeah.
how about you?
I'd rather drive a stick, although I don't. I used to have a little sports car, and I tend to gravitate towards sports cars, and
The flamingos on the
Yeah.
road. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll throw or automatic.
I would have to go with stick simply because manual.
You said okay. Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
automatic. I would go stick. There we go.
yeah,
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
yeah. It took bowling it
Right.
at first. Yeah.
A bit of a learning curve.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. I will pick another question. We'll maybe do one or two more and move on. What's this one say? Ooh, interesting. Analog or digital? What do you prefer generally?
When doing artwork,
I
you
don't
mean,
know, or just no, like in life, I guess. It's hard. That's a big one, but yeah. Would you? I guess that's.
I think probably digital because
Mm.
it's where we are more at
Mm.
now. Although I do feel my skills falling behind since I left work. So, but I try to keep up and learn new things. And it's just remembering everything because we're so inundated with so much stuff now. Yeah. And I think you can do amazing things, with digital. You have just way more opportunities to push the.
Nice. Yeah. Great. Yeah. There's no wrong answers. I would say analog.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love analog, and I kind of, as much as I appreciate, the digital side of things and that, flexibility with certain. Also, kind of like the paper versus audiobook.
Yeah.
I like that tactile thing
Yeah.
that's you can, because some things might just be better digital or
Yeah.
analog, but yeah, I would,
Yeah.
I guess, sometimes lean toward.
I would probably go digital. Analog, because a lot of the digital things nowadays, like, and the analog, I feel like you're that much further ahead, or you just have generally, yeah, with where we're at, maybe more options with things.
Great,
Yeah.
good stuff.
It,
Yeah.
when it doesn't work,
doesn't
then
work.
it's another story.
Yeah, absolutely. That, so we can
Okay.
move on to our tumbling, last little icebreaker game. Yeah, and so with this, we have all these blocks here. And have you played tumbling?
For years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's very simple. We just you pull a loose block out, and then you put it on top. And of course, the game is like if it topples over, because one of them is, you move it.
Yeah.
We're not too picky about, like, some people are like, you have to just, like, the first one you touch is what you have to push. You can kind of push around and go, oh, does that one feel good?
okay.
Yeah, and then put it on top. And technically, you can't pick from these three, but it's fine
Okay.
if you really want to. Yeah, and then each one goes to a corresponding open-ended question, and so that would be like, what does your perfect day look like, or
Okay.
whatever. So just asking about you as a person, and yeah, again, we could all answer those.
Okay.
Unless they're hard, then you just answer them. No.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess if you feel brave, you can do the first tile. Why not?
Okay. I'm going to pick this one. It's number 13.
Okay.
The
Committed.
day I was born on.
Oh, okay. Good, good, good.
There we are.
Nice. Number 13. Highlight of your week this week.
Probably this.
Yeah, good, good.
Because it gives me an opportunity to meet new people and to talk about my art. So, I always appreciate those opportunities. So this is probably, the highlight of the week for me.
Nice, yeah. That is the right answer. That's the one we're looking at. That was no wrong answer, but good stuff. Yeah, obviously this is one of my highlights too, but just for a different answer, yeah, I think just I've been doing a lot of, like, walking lately. Like, purposely just, like, wandering and, like, walking around. And yeah, I had one walk this week where it was just like just was able to just explore my neighborhood a bit more.
Yeah.
And I found that a very relaxing thing. It was after I was on the computer for quite a while, so it was nice to get outside. It was a nice day outside. So yeah, really, that was probably the highlight of my week so far, is that good walk outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll throw it over to it. What if you had to think, what would be the highlight of your week?
I mean, last night I went to with some friends. One of my friends was hosting it, and so they were all souped up. The Owl Acoustic Lounge.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can't remember the last time I played bingo, let alone drag bingo. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a good time with friends. So
I've never really heard that before.
Yeah.
It's new.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right. I will do a tile now. Okay, easy one. What's your favorite season?
A little bit. I'm, bearable, because in Southern Alberta it can get, there's lots of days where the sun is shining and it's too hot to go out on my bike. So I do a lot of riding and hiking, like you, walking around. So I'd say September.
Okay, fall. Yeah. I definitely feel that. Thanksgiving coming up and the season change. Yeah, I think just for a different answer for me, I would say I probably like summer the most. Yeah, I'm also get outside biking, hiking, camping.
Yeah.
As much as I can do that in the winter, it's just the days are shorter, and I find summer there's just so much more time, and there's a lot more, like, you can look for in the winter, but there's a lot more life.
Yeah.
And so summer is always a really fun time.
Yeah.
So that would be my answer, and I'm going to throw it back to Daniel to ask about his favorite season.
Actually, I would say, like, spring. I think there's just something about everything coming back to life, and that's really nice after winter, with how cold and dark it can get here, and dry, and so and I also, like, I love catching the sunset. I try and go for a walk as often as possible if I don't have any plans in the evening, and so it's really fun. I have, like, one spot that I go to, and so just seeing that get later and later, and having to, like, time my walk with that is also just fun.
Yeah.
I find it fun. So yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. All the different seasons. Perfect. Yeah, so I think we have time for like one more tile. So I guess, yeah, it's your
Okay.
turn.
My turn. This thing.
Well, then we just
Or-
go home. The segment is done.
I think I'll try this one.
Sure.
Might not have been a good idea.
Yeah. You're committed.
Oh, I did it.
Yeah, so it's
30
up to
31.
Yeah.
I
Great.
picked a 1-3 and a 3-1.
Would you vacation in space? If someone said, "Hey, where are you going this?" You could afford it. Money's no option here.
Money's.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not really a chance taker. I like my feet on the ground type of person. I like to be familiar with where I am. Maybe if everyone else did it first, then I might do it, but probably not.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I think if someone gave me the option, well, I guess I would, just because I've
Yeah.
never been to space, and like that would be a very unique thing, and I don't really know anyone who's been to space.
Yeah.
And it'd be kind of cool to see the Earth way up there. So.
Yeah.
And environmental footprint aside, I
Yeah.
would say, why not? Let's go for Daniel for one more opinion.
Yeah.
Space or no space?
I would probably say space, as long as it were safe.
Yeah.
Would be my main concern.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it would be very eye-opening seeing our planet from that perspective, like in real life,
Yeah.
myself. So for that reason alone, I would definitely.
I'll
say
just live vicariously
There
through
we go.
you.
Yeah.
I'll send you
We'll-
photos.
We'll be on location.
Yeah.
There.
Nice. Great. Yeah. Well, that's the segment, the
Yeah.
icebreaker segment.
Yeah.
Next, we're going to learn about your artistic journey. So,
Okay.
yeah. So this has been my co-host.
I'm Daniel J. Perryman, and today we're featuring.
Shelley Ewing.
Great. All right. We'll be right back. Welcome to Tell Story Hives on location here in Medicine Hat. I'm Michael Bartz. This is my co-host,
Daniel J. Perryman, and this is
Shelley Ewing.
Yeah, with you, Shelley. The icebreakers, learning about your interests and doing some about kind of your artistic journey from kind of start to finish. We'll get through as much as we can. To the first segment, maybe you could just tell me just briefly a bit about the art that you do.
I just started getting back into my art practice in COVID because I was bored. I was doing something else that got shut down because of the. So I went and I purchased some supplies. I hadn't painted for 20 years because I was doing a job that I was painting. So I just started painting mostly scenery, but then since then I've delved into lots of different subject matter, and I kind of go back and forth between watercolor, acrylic, and oil. I think I prefer acrylic because I'm a bit impatient with the oil. There's a lot of drying time and waiting, and so, but I am in something I need to learn. But.
Nice, yeah, great, yeah. And maybe like going back, let's go like as far back as we can remember. Maybe when did you start first kind of making art when you were younger?
I remember sitting with coloring books when I was like 3-4 years old at my grandma's house. I spent a lot of time doing that, and then when I was a teenager, I started actually doing things and painting, and I just found that I was very and too afraid to speak up or say anything. So I found that that was an outlet for me to just be with myself and share what was inside of me, sort of. I came to Medicine Hat when I was probably 18 and took the visual communication. It was tied to the Alberta curriculum. It was one of the and from there I just I graduated.
And before that you're drawing and you're expressing yourself that way, and
totally different from what I do now. Is I was very interested in fashion design, and so I drew. I was probably influenced a little bit by my grandma on my dad's side. She was making different styles that way. And when I started drawing that, then I started moving into painting and started doing other subject matter. Most of the time, I think when you first start out, you're looking in books and to see if you can render something, and then later on you matter. So that's sort of the path that I went on.
Yeah. Before you can kind of make your own and find your own voice or vision. Saskatchewan when you were younger. What brought you to Alberta?
Well, I moved here to go to Medicine Hat College after I graduated. I think I chose Medicine Hat College because I did have family in town that I could stay here with. I was didn't come from a small town, and I even small town, I'm not really a big city person, so I think it worked good for me, and it was a very on me. It was a very tight community, and they actually cared about the students. We weren't just numbers. And
do you remember roughly like how big was the program at the time? You said it was
I think the first year, I was in first year, and it was probably 25 students in my class. And we only had about 8 students, but we really got almost one-on-one instruction, and there was a lot of different classes that I had been exposed to that I never even realized were part of art. You come from a small town, there's not really anyone to follow in a small town, so I was exposed to photography and printmaking and rendering and illustration and graphic arts. And at that time it was 1980, there was no computers, so everything had to be done by hand. So it was a totally different reality back then. And interestingly enough, that's in the art field, that's what I prefer to do now, is just, doing it the old way. And I still use a computer sometimes to do some commercial stuff, but I think because I did it for so many years, away from that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe more of just that tactile kind of connection with the material.
Yeah, it's a totally different thing. When I left work in 2015, I had started out there, like I said, doing everything by hand. And then probably in the late 80s, we started getting computers and had the first, Photoshop 1.0. And it was very trying because there wasn't a lot of knowledge about the programs yet, and there was no training. And so you're learning all by yourself. Problems handling all the, it took half an hour for one print to come out of the printer. So it was quite frustrating. There was lots of, nights that I was at work for 3. So that scientists had their stuff the next day. But then and it was a very high learning curve, but I had opportunities to go get training. So I went to Toronto, training in like 3D programs. I'm to learn them to their fullest capacity. So I saw that I have admiration and respect for people that do that kind of work, because it's amazing what they do. Mm-hmm. But when I got out of work, I think bad things that can go wrong with computers, and the frustration, and you still get frustrated, but it's a different type of frustration. Mm-hmm. And so I don't really want to do my fine artwork on a computer. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, that makes sense. The way you describe that with the changes from the early days to now is a lot of changes. I'm curious, just going back to we're still back in the school times. I guess so. You did that program. How did that like change or influence? Like you mentioned, you get exposure to things, but how did that influence artistic practice at the time?
I think it see that I could maybe have a career in art. I still wasn't, I was still very cognizant that it's a very hard area to get into and get a decent job. Mm-hmm. But I thought, well, I'll just pursue it. And I had, I got encouragement from the professors and the instructors. So, one of the areas was illustration and rendering and graphic design. I had quite a strong sense of color and balance and that kind of thing. So they steered me, along the path and kind of kept my interest and belief in myself more than anything. And I think working too with different artists, it really kind of, you ideas off of each other, and it really helps your practice a lot. So
absolutely, yeah. And so you mentioned like were you thinking I want to be a full-time artist, or what were you thinking at that time?
Yeah, I really didn't know what kind of job. There wasn't a lot of computers. Everything was ad agencies, so you needed to, that's where you would apply for a job. Okay. Or a newspaper, and I guess at a newspaper you would be doing probably less creative work. But nowadays it's a lot different because people have that, right on the power on their desktops in their own homes and stuff. So I think the whole industry has changed that way. Sure. And I just happened to be very lucky to get the job. But I was at the right place at the right time. Yeah.
Kind of the next stage of your even artistic career, but your general career. So you graduated. Tell me what came next.
Penny. But Calgary was booming in the 80s, and I really did not like it. At the same time, Medicine Hat had it was 1983 around, and we had our 100th anniversary year. And I won the logo contest for Medicine Hat's anniversary, and I was in the paper. Back in those days, we didn't have any social media, so paper was where you got your, your advertising. And it just so happened my college this, and he somehow tracked me down in Calgary and told me that there would be an opportunity coming up at the base, working for this scientific research place that I knew nothing about. And the reason it was coming up because his wife was doing that job and she was quitting because she found that being 50 kilometers out of town was far away when you had small kids coming home after school. So I was back in those days, I was very shy and not assured of myself. Scientist, and introduced myself. And then one thing, and they basically hired me the next day. So
cool.
That's how.
Next, 30 some years doing that, right?
Yeah, well, the job at first was, so I was hired for 45 days. And it's one of the job in Calgary. Do I move back to Medicine Hat and take a chance, quit that job, and get laid off? But I did it. And what happened in time, and that went on for 5 years, over and over again in the government, they have permanent. And then I had to apply for my job again.
Yeah. For this job, and yeah, I guess what kind of made you decide that, okay, I'm gonna go for it?
Well, now I'm much more pragmatic and really think things you're not going to take as many chances, and I'll worry about what happens later. And I had no plan.
There we go. Good.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. And was that job?
But not what I thought I would find myself as creative as, I think at first I was kind of quite bored with it, but then over the years it kind of expanded with computers and finding a way to trust other people. So using visuals to represent, dumbing them down so the message gets across. The job was illustration, but it was also marketing, like brochures, and doing backdrops and museum posters, things like that. I did a large part museum in Calgary. They had a Suffield was our part of it was my time to do things like that. So that part of it was creative because it moved back and forth between different, doing maybe infographic type posters to the concepts of scientific things you couldn't, they maybe just somebody's idea, or something you can't photograph, like something happening in the body that might be pharmacological research, or something taking part over a long, a lot of miles in between, like missiles, like that. So it was very interesting, and so I understood what exactly they were aiming that, and asking a lot of questions, we would eventually get there.
Very specific skill that you may have done. Yeah, translating that very scientific knowledge into something that I think like a layperson can understand, right?
Yeah. Now what it's done for me, and since I retired, I do miss the science. Like I never ever thought I was a scientific type person, but I see that it's in every part of our life, every day, everywhere you look. their science.
Mhm.
So that part of it I appreciated, and I do miss learning about it, but I have no security clearance anymore, so
They don't let you in the door. Yeah.
so I won't be
Yeah.
finding anything out anymore.
Fair enough. Yeah, popping by. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, I guess like generally, I know you had quite a long career in that work. Like, could you maybe have a thought around like how that maybe influenced your artistic practice or creativity?
I think what it did was when you're illustrating science, you have to be fairly accurate, you know, because you're trying to convey a certain message and maybe specific equipment, and they want to see, you know, this certain aspect of the equipment. So what I find now is I paint actually quite tight, and I'm trying to loosen up a bit. So I think in some ways it had a bit of a bad influence on where I would like to go with my art. It's not that it's bad or right or wrong, because with art it's very subjective. Appreciates that. It's just, I think, because somebody do something that's more loose, and I find that very hard to do. So I think that it, over the years, trying to do everything exact and perfect, make sure that it's, you know, everything's represented perfectly. Gravitate towards art that's more abstract, which is weird.
Weird, yeah.
Yeah, it's very weird. Like I just like.
What draws you to the abstract paintings?
I think it's probably just the color and the balance and the movement that I see in them, and it's not anything that's being made, you know, that somebody's had to make that out of their head. It's not something they're looking at. And when I've sat down to do that, those paintings have caused me loss of sleep. You know, like I get quite turmoil inside because you're just painting nothing that you can look at. There's no reference. It's all in your head. And you're, you know, whereas if you have a scenery picture, you know, you're painting it, you're still interpreting it and putting your own subjective mix into it, but you know, you do have something for a reference. So I find the abstract very, very hard, but I make myself do it once in a while just to try to loosen up a bit.
Yeah. That's really interesting. Yeah, especially it's very different than your scientific research work where it has to be very accurate.
Yeah, I might get there someday, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it's okay.
You know.
Yeah, clearly, that both things kind of have influenced.
I'm pretty casual about, you know, I did have a career, a formal career, and so now I'm really just painting for fun, of what I feel like that day, kind of thing. Really tried to paint to sell paintings. When I first started painting in COVID, I ended up with I started with watercolor, so I ended up with, you know, 10 watercolors, and I said to my husband, what am I going to do with all these paintings? Because one thing that seems to be very different about me than other artists I've spoken to is I'm not attached to the painting. When I'm done it, I'm see you later. Like, I'm attached to the process, the actual process of creating it. That's where I get my satisfaction from. So I don't care if I have the painting after. So I just posted them on, you know, online, and because it was I had probably 6 or 7 people who didn't want to buy it. So I said to my husband, kind of a thing, I guess. So I'll just keep doing this. And that's really how I've sold most of the paintings is, you know, formal. And I've had a couple galleries reach out to me just of not sure where they saw my work. Getting some stuff in the Calgary Stampede because participate in the Calgary Stampede, you usually need an invite to go to that. So I don't know if those galleries were associated with that because they're kind of from around the Calgary area. So it might have been something like that. So it's very weird how, you know, it moves across different places that you can show your art. I actually made an attempt have a plan or anything. And maybe that's not right, but it's kind of where I'm at right now.
Well, that's okay. Yeah, clearly it seems like it's working for you, and
Yeah.
yeah, you never know where
Yeah.
people will see a little bit. So you retired, you started to paint just kind of for yourself, it sounds like, and
Yeah.
then kind of turned into being a bit busier and want your arts. And
Yeah. And you get like I did join the Artists in Canada website, so it's a place where there's, I don't know how many artists are on there, but probably 200 or 300 across Canada. And the most crazy things happen. Like this lady contacted me from Ontario, and she wanted to buy a piece of my art, and it was actually a local scene here in Medicine Hat. So when she first contacted me, I thought it was somebody trying to scam me, because you have to be aware of that so much nowadays. But it turned out, yeah, she just liked the picture, and so she paid for shipping, and so the oddest things happened because I had that would buy it, and no, someone from and very has its own path with the flow and let it do what it wants to do. So
oh, that's neat.
yeah.
And maybe if someone from here, they're used to seeing that landscape, it's maybe not as unique. They don't appreciate it, so I could see someone maybe from somewhere else.
Yeah,
liking that. Nice.
Yeah.
I wonder, like, have you had any challenges?
I like to. That's why I think I do a lot of different subject matter, because I find landscapes, people are harder. So that paint faces or paint people, paint the human body. I have, as well as to actually promote yourself. You have to take so much time, probably just as much time as your city. You have to drive your stuff there. You have to go pick it up. I have done the paintings all the way there. You're picking them up. You have to go on social media to send emails, to maybe even make some brochures for yourself. And so I think that is then I'm not painting. And I also like to, take a break. If it's a nice day, I jump for, 30, 40 kilometers, and I'm out for 3 hours. I I take pictures that I'm going to paint from those kind of trips. So there's only so much time, and so I would say the promotional part isn't my first love. And that's probably not good for someone that wants to.
Yeah, I think that's a very natural thing. It seems like, and putting yourself out there and all that stuff is often effortful and takes more work. And and that sounds like you're in a good place. You're not relying on that, for your income as much, for inspiration. So,
Yeah. Let's probably continue along that path. I can't see myself. I have getting a website this year. Maybe that's a goal I'll try and do. And a website, but it's kind of a generic website with lots of artists. But
and like you said, other opportunities come up. It sounds like there's things that people are looking for your stuff.
You don't know how people know you. I've been, walking down the street, that artist, and you just how they've figured that out, or they've seen something somewhere. Sometimes a local coffee shop, and then they've seen it on social media, or they've seen it somewhere else like that, and they connect the dots. So I did promote it. I probably get further, but it's very hard for me. I'm pulled to paint. That's where my pull is I find if I don't paint for 2 or 3 days, I start to get feel it in me. I just want to be there at the canvas. So
the product. So yeah, I'm yeah, yeah. I think like that's getting out in nature and stuff. Yeah, maybe tell me a bit more about what else.
I tend to be, I guess, a very touchy-feely person. Bother me sometimes. So I think that gets somewhere inside me where it creates an emotion that I want. Started painting one painting a year with an Indigenous theme. That was sort of peaked. We weren't taught a lot about that area in our. I grew up in North Battleford, which has 6 or 7, and a lot of bad things have happened over the years in that. But we were very unaware of that. Like, if I see groups getting targeted, whether it be Indigenous trans issues, it gets under my skin, and it does it enough. So that's been another outlet for me, and those aren't painting sellers or things that people want on their wall, most likely, but I just feel better after they're painted, and I just put situation where people might think about these things and start to learn too, because there's still a lot of learning that I have to do. Like, I don't know, even a tidbit of it yet. Go, for instance, with the Indigenous, to go to powwows, and I'll just go up and tell them I'm an artist, and then I'll ask permission if I can paint. And then I usually find the person maybe a year or two down the road. I look for them again, painting. I just gift it to them. Just to bring awareness to that subject area. So there's just different things like that I've done. Politicalness in our society also bothers me, that's going on. A lot of people unaware of some of the things, so I try to paint things sometimes that exactly what they should think or what they should do, but somewhere along the lines, and when those subjects are kind of overwhelming, flowers or trees or something, just that's more relaxing and simple.
Yeah, that makes sense if sometimes you need a break from that. But
yeah,
but I appreciate that. Like, that's very a different way. I don't know if you can think of anyone like that comes to mind that like maybe pieces about that, maybe some of those topics, and maybe was impacted or did. I don't know. Was there any situations that come to mind?
Yeah, I think when the Ukraine war started, and surprisingly, I had a lot of people that were more just their dress and their heritage and things. And I sold all the paintings, and I donated the money to the Red Cross for the Ukraine effort. Kind of made a lot of awareness, and people, I think, started response with the Indigenous. I've had people over the years, that I was taken aback by, that they just negative comments, and over knowing them for 3 or 4 months, and then turn around and reconsider their position. The same thing with the trans, the kids, the LGBTQ kind of stuff. I have seen people respond and then maybe real human being that wants to be singled out or separated. We, instead of, well, maybe what could I do to change my life? It's like, if we can just get rid of this problem or I guess as a human being, it just bothers me. Like it gets right under my skin. And sometimes with my art about that, because I just want people to be accepted. They just want to be, they want the same things. Like lately there's been, you know, a lot of stuff about immigrants now. We're on to that again. And so I had an opportunity to, when I retired, to teach English to immigrants. So the Middle East, from Africa, from all over the place. And you hear their stories, hear what they've gone through, and there is not one of us walking in to try to change our lives, to get a better opportunity for ourselves, for our children, whatever. Some of them have seen atrocious things. So my voice, consider how you would feel walking in someone else's shoes. But that's really all I'm trying to do.
That's great. And yeah, especially like when you said you were younger, shy, sounds like you really found yourself and your cause. So I think that's lovely. Yeah. Ask people, just very generally, like how has your artistic life?
Oh, I think it enriches my life because when you're retired, first of all, it's a time filler for me. You know, I can sit down and it can be 1 o'clock and I've put music on and I just sit and paint, and it's just very fulfilling. So I'm not a TV watcher. So, and if the weather is not biking weather, you know, it gives you something to do, because I'm not a have to be doing something all the time. So
great. Yeah. Sounds
so
like
I'm very
absolutely. Yeah, that's lovely. Yeah. And this is the whole time we have for this segment. So really appreciate learning about more detail about that and the stories behind it. So I'm Michael Bartz. This is my co-host,
Shelley Ewing.
All right, and we'll be right back.
this is my co-host.
And today we have
Shelley Ewing.
Yes, thank you so much. Thoroughly enjoyed your segments with Michael, doing the icebreakers, getting to know you and your preferences. And I'm super excited to jump in and do a showcase with you.
Okay.
And talk about the inspiration behind them and just see what's up. So I think the one right behind us up here, and I believe it's called Bounty.
Well, this piece was inspired by my visit to Head Smashed in Buffalo. It was quite a ways to drive, but I was glad we did. Life and never stopped. And it was amazing to learn about the Indigenous history. And the day we were there, we could see a storm coming in. You could see for miles. You could see the Alberta landscape. And, you know, I was reading about how bountiful that place was for Indigenous when they did the artifacts or dug the artifacts. 100 years or something, they figure people were there using it. The farmers and the ranchers that, you know, do all the food. I had one of those moments to see how things transfer from the first people out to the painting and exaggerated the storm. Came out. So.
Yeah, beautiful. Like one of the things that stood out to me, you're a bit of that like research background and like digging into things and learning about what it is you're painting.
Yeah.
The fact that it's a landscape and that you maybe find a bit more ease. What was it like learning about that history of the land and then based on
was there, but you're standing outside and you're just trying to picture what these people are doing. And can't remember what that one's called now right off with the bat. It's guiding them, and the buffaloes were kind of chasing their whole, you know, the eat. And so you can see how they're, I want you to be okay. So I took that from it and so
and then the colors right away.
I kind of block color down, but it starts more neutral. I tend to have a very strong sense of color. I tend to always gravitate that way, so I exaggerate. Brown, I see purple and blue and greens in that color, and so I always bring that out. It's sort of been a common theme, and even when I was working digitally at work, and it would get off. It's, you know, he used to say he hated coming to Suffolk. He had such a strong sense of color that he'd run the prints and so I think that comes out in my painting. I've tried to tamp it down sometimes. I'm just gonna let it go.
Yeah, just lean into it.
Yeah.
Stood out to me in your interview with Michael was just that you finished this piece. Oh, wow, what happened? Like,
oh, I just love that, and you're like, oh, you know, whatever. You're wanting to paint perfect, but it's just something that's an unknown thing that you're looking for. Probably what they should be sold for, but it's basement. If you're doing art, for me is having your art, sharing it with people, because otherwise, why are you doing it? You know, if nobody sees you doing your art or sees it, then does it really exist? So for me, the price they sell, and I think I find that easier to do the material thing. So I don't know where that comes from in me, but I really want to keep this.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, right on. Piece right here, so I'm gonna carefully. And yeah, might not be able to see. It's a bit tall.
Yeah.
Well, I'll move it up and down.
Okay. Body. I like painting the human body for some reason. It challenges me. But as I was doing it in the States, it's not the citizens, a knowing relationship that you could really years. The loss of maybe not being to dance is like dance, you know, especially a ballerina. And you're, you know, you're going back and forth, forward, backward around you. So I found the parallels I was feeling with what was going on in the political dance that we're having with the United States right now. You know, one day we see kind of promise moving forward, and the next day it's
Two steps
very,
back.
yeah, it's very dismal. So I just thought it could convey that with the two flags, and that's why I added them to the ballerina picture. So
I get from it is just that idea of also I think of ballet and I think of like grace, training, and yeah.
And that's, you know, sometimes you feel like you're not getting any further, and you're a top ballerina unless you have years and years of. Look at our two countries. I look at what we've been through the years, and I just feel sad and a loss inside in my life happening. You know, I think part of that in, you know, in the timeline of life, our generation, I was born in the 60s. The First and Second World Wars, we were the adults that are coming into this, what's happening in the world right now. We're kind of, you know, wake up and pay attention. So that's sort of what I was conveying with this.
Of it and the feelings behind it. On a more practical side, I see a bit of like 3D foil. Okay, yeah.
So I put foil in some of my paintings because it catches the light and kind of added the word fracture because that's what is going on. Like, we're not totally broken, our two countries, but there is definitely and so it just adds some light to that fracture. Light comes.
Find a way through.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
awesome. Our next piece that we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about this piece?
She was praying before her jingle dance. And part I'm saddened for because we tried to find her and we can't find her. So there was people from all over, like from Manitoba to the further away. But, you know, I put the image out there, and if I ever found her, her reverence for her. That's why I called it that, when she was praying into herself. And then she went and did the dance. So, and I just, like, physically, the way they present their costumes and their beating, it's just
through your painting, right?
And that's, you know, being tight again.
Yeah.
But some people just say, well, yeah, it looks good. Why don't you just leave it, you know? But, you know, it's like yourself to do something different or make something see someone else's painting and it influences you. And but I think with probably be on the very edge of impression and put any boundaries on myself. I
think, you know, many artists think visual art and especially for money. How do you push yourself? Like, is it through
painting people? You have to know about sometimes about but I think also for me it's all messages, and that probably comes a little bit from my career at Suffield there to suggest, you know, what they Suffield, one of the biggest challenges that you have as an artist is to convey a message and to deliver that message and make sure that that communication, I think both those are challenges for me.
And balance between like realistic and also
a realistic painter, I wouldn't say that. To make sure the image looks like it's long and their image does look like what it's supposed to, but it's just with the
Paint like the edges because it may not be seen, but
I don't really have a rule what I do, but a lot of people don't frame these when they buy them.
that is all the time that we have for this
Yeah.
segment. So thank you again so much for your time. Well, thank you so much. So this has been Tell Us Story Hives.